Translator, Dark Angel. Editor, Kurisu Peng. A streak of swordlight slammed down, every last bit of force pouring onto the Three Lives corpse casket. This was a level 10 spirit tool, and it effortlessly warded off the entirety of Linghan's strike. Fortunately, the Demon Birth Sword was also a level 10 spirit tool. Thus, it did not provoke the Three Lives corpse casket into rebounding with a countershock. Yet the Three Lives corpse casket had already begun to move, angling to shield Rong Huan. So long as Rong Huan withdrew and hid within it once more, he would again become invincible. Linghan, you can't do anything to me. Rong Huan sneered. Since he had already seen Hu Niu, how could he not be sure of Linghan's identity? Wait, where was that little girl? He had just seen her a moment ago. Why was there not the slightest trace of her now? Ah! He suddenly shrieked. He spun his head to look, and Hu Niu's tiny head had actually popped up inside the green net. Moreover, the corner of her mouth was still smeared with blood. She had actually bitten off 2 of his fingers, and on one of them sat his spatial ring. No! He instantly roared. The spatial ring itself wasn't worth much, but the problem was what it held. Every last one of his possessions was inside, including the key he had seized from the Zhang clan. Hey! Hu Niu bared her teeth in a grin. Her coordination with Linghan was flawless. One charged head-on to draw the eye, while the other struck from the flank in a shadowy sneak assault. With a bite backed by the might of 20 stars of flower blossom tear, she forcibly chewed through the green net, and along the way, she also tore off 2 of Rong Huan's fingers. She retreated at once. Peng, the Three Lives corpse casket, snapped shut and swallowed Rong Huan inside. Kill them! Kill all of them! Rong Huan's muffled voice came from within. Losing 2 fingers was nothing. So long as his heart remained unharmed, corpse chi could regrow any organs and limbs, but the spatial ring had to be taken back. Immediately, the corpse soldier shifted its attention to Linghan. Yan Tianzhao as well. With a flick of his right hand, he retrieved his green net. His gaze turned frosty as it fell upon Linghan, and he said coldly, "Hand over the key and I can spare your life." Linghan casually erased the divine sense Rong Huan had left on the spatial ring. Sweeping it with his own divine sense, sure enough, he discovered a silver key inside. It was forged from some unknown material, thick as a child's arm. He smiled faintly and simply stowed the spatial ring into the Black Tower. Then he flashed away in a quick dodge, having no intention of meeting the corpse soldier head-on. That would be utterly meaningless. Oh, to begin with, the victor between you and me still hasn't been decided, and I was precisely planning to have a good, enjoyable battle. If you force me to go all out, then the only road left for you is death. Yan Tianzhao declared icily. With a wave of his right hand, a burst of green light shot forth, actually condensing into a wing. The wing was incomparably thin, like an exquisite heavenly blade, and it slashed toward Linghan. Linghan drew his sword. Ding, when the long sword struck that wing, fierce sparks actually flared. Looking closer, those weren't ordinary sparks at all, but countless pattern designs. What a terrifying Yan Tianzhao. The martial intent he sent forth was actually on par with a level 10 spirit tool. But at this very moment, the corpse soldier swung a claw toward Yan Tianzhao. The command it had received was to kill everyone, and that naturally included Yan Tianzhao. At first, Yan Tianzhao had been farther away, so it naturally attacked the nearer Linghan first. But now that Yan Tianzhao had suddenly rushed so close, it naturally didn't mind tearing at him as well. Yan Tianzhao cursed. No matter how glorious his last life had been, right now he only possessed the cultivation of the 9th layer of the spiritual pedestal tier. There was absolutely no way he could ignore a corpse soldier at flower blossom tier. Even if it had not been completely refined, he flung out another strike, but this one was aimed at the corpse soldier. Linghan surged forward, and with a sweep of the demon birth sword, 10 arcs of sword chi burst forth. The Four Seasons sword technique was already in motion, the various concepts rolling like waves, like the passage of time itself. This time, it became him and the corpse soldier joining forces against Yan Tianzhao. Yan Tianzhao was suspected to have been taken over by the spirit of a god. His battle prowess was astonishingly, terrifyingly powerful, and he easily dispersed the combined assaults of Linghan and the corpse soldier. However, the instant Linghan drew near, The corpse soldier switched its focus and lunged at Ling Han again, throwing the entire fight into chaos. Three forces tangled in a chaotic battle, and Ling Han, as the one who had obtained the key, naturally became the foremost target. Yet, the corpse soldier was a standard double-faced character. If it could attack Ling Han, it would. But if Ling Han was farther away, it wouldn't stand around doing nothing. It would instead turn and charge at Yan Tianzhao, making Yan Tianzhao's mood sink into gloom. This ally was truly far too unreliable. Hu Nu watched from the side, clapping her hands in glee. She was absolutely confident in Ling Han. After a period of gathering and storing up power, Ling Han struck. The mysterious 3000 erupted in full splendor. 1,000 sword flashes. The Four Seasons sword technique was only a black-grade high-level martial arts technique, yet the spiritual pedestal tier could already wield earth-grade martial arts techniques, and the mysterious 3000 was a sword art whose grade surpassed heaven grade. Its might limited only by the wielder's comprehension of sword arts, in the instant Ling Han leaped from black grade all the way to surpassing heaven grade, the power of his sword attack naturally skyrocketed. Madly. Choo choo. The 1,000 sword flashes were tightly condensed together, and every single flash was equivalent to Ling Han's full power strike. And how shockingly powerful was that? Moreover, this was an attack unleashed through a level 10 spirit tool. Yan Tianzhao immediately let out a muffled humph and, spreading both arms, sent multiple green threads unfurling. This time, they did not form a net, but were woven far tighter than any net, actually shaping into two wings comprised of patterned designs, shielding him within. Meanwhile, the corpse soldier continued rushing forward dumbly and also bore a major portion of the sword flash might. Peng! The sword flashes shattered, erupting into a great explosion, a terrifying spectacle. When the sword flashes had fully vanished, the corpse soldier was visibly riddled with holes. Its left arm had even been sliced off, yet it still pounced at Ling Han, possessing absolutely no fear of death. Yan Tianzhao, on the other hand, was far better off. The wings of light protecting him had only lost a few feathers, while he himself remained completely unscathed. Naturally, this was also because the corpse soldier had shouldered most of the assault. One had to admit, when it came to bodily toughness, the corpse soldier was absolutely on par with precious metal, comparable to the body of iron sheet. Furthermore, this was also because this corpse soldier had not been refined completely. It could only be considered slightly above the level of a level 2 silver-armored corpse soldier, and had yet to reach level 3. Otherwise, even mysterious 3000 would not be able to harm it at all. After all, this was a technique meant to strike a whole group, whereas 10,000 techniques was the truly devastating attack. This is a sword technique from the Heaven Sword Palace. Yan Tianzhao exclaimed in surprise, his brow faintly furrowing. That's not right. There is a Heaven Sword sect here. Could it be you are a disciple of that place? No. You came from the Rain Country, so there should be no relation between you and the Heaven Sword sect. Could it be that you are the reincarnation of some powerful character from the Heaven's Sword Palace? His first words were spoken to himself, but the last few were a question directed at Ling Han. Ling Han smiled faintly and said, I don't have any relation with the Heaven's Sword Palace. On the other hand, who know of the Heaven's Sword Palace's existence? I assume you are someone from the realm of gods, then? Realm of gods? Yan Tianzhao blanked for a moment, then suddenly threw his head back and laughed loudly. With an expression filled with disdain, he said, Ignorant fool of the lower realm, your ignorance is beyond compare. To tell you the truth, I am indeed Yan Tianzhao. However, when I was young, I accidentally triggered a device that contained the memories of a god and was thus slightly affected. Ling Han finally understood. Memories were not something to trifle with. Why had he always refused to use the art of searching another's soul? Precisely because once he touched another's memories, they would fuse with his own. And once there was a large enough amount of such memories, he would no longer be able to distinguish which were his and which belonged to another. It would definitely affect him and might even cause a great, drastic change in his character. At that time, Yan Tianzhao had only been 5 years old, and his personal characteristics had not yet fully formed. How could he possibly withstand an entire lifetime of memories belonging to a god? Thus, his character naturally underwent a dramatic transformation. He was practically a carbon copy of that god, becoming incredibly evil. That was why he had been sealed away. Translator, Dark Angel. F. From within the Three Lives corpse casket, Rong Huanshuan's curses could be heard, filthy as they were furious. He truly had rotten luck. First, he'd been possessed by the Asura Demon Emperor, an existence bordering on the divine, and now he had run into a freak who carried the memories of a god. Worse still, it was highly likely Ling Han had some thread tied to the ancient era. Yet Yan Tianzhao could not be bothered to spare him even a glance. In Yan Tianzhao's eyes, Rong Huanshuan was merely the smallest pebble among a whole heap of pebbles, utterly unworthy of notice. He fixed Ling Han with a solemn gaze and said, "Is my sincerity enough? Ling Han, how about this? I won't demand you hand the key to me, but I want to enter the Sagittarius Palace Hall together with you and take a certain item from within." Seeing Ling Han's brow crease, he immediately lifted a hand and said, "Don't worry, that item is absolutely useless to you." He paused, then continued, "I can also deal with the brat inside the casket for you. Others may be unable to do anything to the Three Lives corpse casket, but it has no effect on me. I can drag him out." Ugh. Rong Huanshuan cursed yet again. If anyone else had said such words, he would have sneered in contempt. But Yan Tianzhao possessed the memories of a god and could be considered a god's reincarnation. Who knew? Perhaps he truly had a method to handle the Three Lives corpse casket. However, Ling Han only bared his teeth in a grin and replied, "No way." Why? Yan Tianzhao was nearly driven mad. He had already yielded so much, yet Ling Han still refused him. Ling Han said, "As for the brat inside the casket, I really can't kill him right now, but it won't take me too many years to drag him out and slaughter him. Letting him live is good. He serves as a reminder to myself that, as for that key, hey, it's obviously mine, so why should I hand it to you? Furthermore, even a god values it so highly. Tsk, tsk, tsk. Then all the more I can't possibly miss out on it. You." Yan Tianzhao flew into a towering rage, and with a sudden leap, he charged straight at Ling Han. Since words had failed, there was only one path left: settle it with fists. Then you'll have to witness the terrifying battle prowess of our peacock race. Yan Tianzhao snorted coldly. As he swung both arms to strike, wings actually took shape, each 100 feet long, densely woven with patterns that shone with resplendent light, their might so fearsome it made one's scalp prickle. Ling Han unleashed the mysterious 3,000 sword technique. He needed no time to gather force. With each strike, 100+ sword flashes burst forth, enough to shatter every wing feather Yan Tianzhao hurled at him, the whole region filled with splintered feathers that immediately transformed into countless patterned designs, only to dim swiftly and vanish. Kill, kill, kill! Yan Tianzhao's expression twisted into something devilish beyond compare. As his figure whirled, it was as if he had truly become a gigantic peacock, wings beating violently, murder intent stretching as far as the eye could see. Ling Han was neither startled nor afraid. So long as he wielded the mysterious 3,000 sword technique, 100 sword flashes would fly, and that alone let him stand evenly against Yan Tianzhao. Damn it! I am, after all, no longer in the body of a peacock, and I can't display the might of the Bright King's secret technique to its fullest. Yan Tianzhao roared in fury, yet the madness in his eyes did not lessen in the slightest. If anything, it burned even hotter. Give me my key. Hong, green flames suddenly erupted over his entire body, warping space itself. Ling Han instantly felt his vision swim. Poison, he thought, hurriedly drawing out a petal of the golden flower of the stone and swallowing it. Then he turned to look at Hu Niu. Thankfully, the little girl was some distance away and had not been engulfed by the flames. However, after swallowing that petal, Ling Han felt the dizziness somewhat restrained, yet he still did not feel any better. It was obvious even the golden flower of the stone could not cleanse the poison within these flames, only provide temporary relief. Hiss, what kind of poison was this that even the golden flower of the stone, said to cleanse 10,000 poisons, could do nothing against it? Ling Han's battle spirit did not diminish. Instead, it surged. Gripping the demon birth sword, he shouted, Yan Tianzhao, receive a strike from me! Hong, the thunder battle armor activated and transformed into a barrier, isolating him from the flames. At this moment, the corpse soldier was already mostly rendered useless. First, it had been heavily damaged by Ling Han's mysterious 3,000 sword technique. Then it had been scorched by Yan Tianzhao's green flames, so its threat could now be completely ignored. Thus, Ling Han needed only to focus all his attention on Yan Tianzhao. With a flick of his sword, Ling Han once again unleashed the mysterious 3,000 sword technique. Instantly, 1,000 sword flashes surged like a tide that hid the sky and covered the earth. Yan Tianzhao hurriedly spread his green wings wide and sheltered himself within. When the sword flashes smashed into them, light from countless pattern designs burst in every direction, forcing him to retreat again and again. When the sword flashes gradually dissipated, the wings he had used to shield himself were also riddled with damage. When the sword flashes dwindled to about 200, the green wings finally shattered completely. Pooh! 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 Sword flashes tore through, and in an instant blood sprayed wildly. Ling Han was secretly alarmed. He truly could not underestimate this fellow. If he had not increased his original 7 flashes of sword chi to 9 flashes, even the mysterious 3,000 sword technique would not have been able to pierce Yan Tianzhao's defenses. Yan Tianzhao roared in rage, spitting blood without end. This time, he had suffered a rather grievous injury. Yet it was precisely at this moment that Peng, the 3 lives corpse casket, opened, and Rong Huanshuan burst out, slashing straight toward Yan Tianzhao. This was when Yan Tianzhao was at his weakest. How could he have imagined Rong Huanshuan would actually strike at him? Thus, he was hit instantly. Pooh! Green-colored blood sprayed everywhere. He had been cleaved into 2 halves at the waist. You actually attacked me? Yan Tianzhao's face was filled with utter disbelief. Nonsense. You yourself said you could drag me out of the 3 lives corpse casket. Who else am I supposed to kill if not you? Rong Huanshuan sneered coldly. Compared to that, he could still protect himself with Ling Han, and even if he failed to obtain the treasure within the 12 heaven mystery realms, it was no great loss. It wasn't his to begin with, so naturally he felt no bitter anguish. Yan Tianzhao felt stifled beyond measure. He had never imagined that someone he regarded as no more than an ant could inflict such a severe wound upon him. But how could he die so easily? The upper and lower halves of his body actually moved on their own. One half sprinted away on 2 legs, while the other pressed to the ground with both hands. Then, with a leap, his upper half landed atop his lower half, as if they could be reattached. When the mystery realms open, I will definitely stop you, and you. He said to Ling Han first, then pointed at the 3 lives corpse casket. The next time we meet, I will definitely turn you into a corpse. After saying that, he broke into a run and fled. Hong, 2 green-colored wings of light sprouted from his back, and as he spread them, he shot into the skies and escaped in an instant. He didn't die even from that. Ling Han propped himself up with his sword. Yan Tianzhao could absolutely be considered the reincarnation of an ancient god's spirit and knew a shockingly large number of secret techniques. He did not die even after being cut in half, so the next time they met, would he need to crush his heart or perhaps his head? Ling Han, don't be too pleased with yourself. I'll get myself a gold-armored corpse, and I will definitely take your life next time. Rong Huanshuan also tossed out a line befitting the moment, clearly intending to flee as well. I know, go on, Ling Han said impatiently. You, Rong Huanshuan snorted. He was extremely displeased with Ling Han's attitude, as if he were some trivial side character of negligible importance. He swore to himself that he would definitely make Ling Han regret this. Hong, the 3 lives corpse casket, slid away, and Rong Huanshuan departed within it. Ling Han, meanwhile, fell into deep thought. For Yan Tianzhao's situation, was he a god's reincarnation from his last life, or was he still himself? As for Ling Han himself, what category did he belong to? Was he too in a situation where the memories of a previous life had been transferred into this body? It left him feeling somewhat at a loss. Ling Han. Hu Niu hopped over and tugged on Ling Han's hand. In that instant, Ling Han smiled, and the confusion in his heart was chased away. He was who he was. He was neither the Alchemy Emperor from his last life, nor the useless young man of this lifetime. Rather, He was an existence formed from the merging of the two, possessing both their merits and their shortcomings, a true living person, and that was enough. Come, let's go back, Ling Han said with a smile. En, who knew, nodded earnestly.